Hello, welcome to Undisputed Boxing. We're back for the boxing news edition. If you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe, share the videos, share some comments, let us know your thoughts, give us your feedback. There's a bit of a slow news week again, but I mean, the good news is that the schedule is looking pretty strong now for April and May and June, actually. So I think we're going to have plenty to sort of talk about. But what news have we got from for this week, Rick?
We'll start with the man behind you.
Yeah, Oscar.
Yeah, I never like these things, if I'm honest. I think people should just retire and that's it. I mean, you know, he's 49, and if he was going to come back, he should have come back the year later. Why he thinks it's a good idea to come back at 49, I don't know. Yeah, never a fan of these things, no matter how good the fighters are. I've got more respect for people that just don't retire and carry on, like Pacquiao, the ones that kind of quit and then come back years later. I don't know what it is, though. Is it an exhibition, or is he actually coming back for a career?
That, again, I don't know, because I do think that they were almost kind of looking at it, or I'd heard that they were looking at it to kind of maybe like a league of some of the older fighters. But Oscar De La Hoya said, you know, whenever he's given interviews, he's like talking about coming back against somebody big. I've heard a couple of people have commented on this on Twitter that, like, you know, half decent sources, that it's going to be Triple G. Again, how true that is, I don't know. I really hope that it isn't, because I just think he would get absolutely ran through. I mean, when did he fight Manny Pacquiao? That was his last fight, wasn't it? Was that 15 years ago? 14 years ago? It's a long time ago. And he quit on his stool, just didn't have it anymore. I mean, Manny Pacquiao was kind of at the peak of his powers then, to be fair. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it either. I'm not a big believer in it, but apparently Triller are going to be putting it on. It's going to be, what is it, July 3rd, something like that.
I mean, it depends also as well. I mean, boxers are deluded a lot of the time. You have to be, in a sense, but like you said, if he's like, right, well, I quit on my stool, I didn't have enough against Pacquiao, so why 15 years later do I think I could take on, you know, someone who hits even harder?
Yeah.
There's no logic in that whatsoever. So you know, I don't know how you talk yourself into that. But if he's just like, listen, probably I'm going to take a pasting, but look at the money on offer. I've got more respect for that in a sense, because there's some logic there. When boxers just go, oh, I'm going to be better than ever. Why? Who's ever done that?
Yeah, it never ends well.
Who's ever retirement that long and it looks good? I mean, look at Hatton. I mean, that, you know, this is far worse than Hatton. I mean, I can't remember how long Hatton was out for, but
I think Ricky Hatton was out for about a year and a half.
5 years later.
Yeah, it was like a year and a half.
Was it a year and a half?
No, it was a year and a half, wasn't it? I think he was. So he got starched by Manny Pacquiao in round 1, and then I think he came back 18 months or maybe 2 years later, and he was only 32, 33 at the time when he fought Senchenko, but he was just way off the pace, and it was quite a shame. It was a bit of a shame, really. But I mean, it's good that Ricky Hatton seems to be in a good place now, and Oscar De La Hoya is in a good place. He's got successful promotional company. He's got a great stable of fighters. I just don't understand why he wants to do it. But it's one of those things, isn't it? I mean, we're all going to watch it probably. Roy Jones Jr. and Mike Tyson. Pardon?
Depends who it is. It depends who it is.
Yeah. But Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. did over 1 million pay-per-view buys. It shows that, you know, with the right opponent, it can be a commercial success. And unfortunately, that'll be enough for some fighters. So yeah, it's a shame. But I don't know. There we are.
Talking of Tyson, you on the wine there?
I am actually on the wine tonight. Yeah, I usually go for a whiskey on a Sunday night, but whiskey kind of puts me to sleep, and I want to watch the F1 later, so I'm keeping it kind of civil for now.
On the brews.
On the tea. You hungover?
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, yeah. Not too bad. I mean, I think I'm not drinking like I used to because we're not going out at the moment, so it's all home drinking, and I don't drink in the week. But I probably had more than I normally have than I have recently because I was quite nervous for the fight. So I think I don't know, like 5 bottles. We had some champagne because of Damo's 40th as well, and
okay.
and then I had a few brandy and cokes for the main event, get me through it. But yeah, I had some water as well, so I felt rough when I woke up, but I'm not too bad now. Yeah, so Tyson and Holyfield you mentioned earlier, is that done?
Yeah, apparently that's done for the 29th of May. So Mike Tyson against Evander Holyfield 3. And again, just kind of, we're just going to regurgitate what we're talking about. We don't like to see it, but I guess exhibition, people are going to watch it. It's kind of up to them. It's not going to be elite boxing anymore. But yeah, what are you going to do? Yeah. Anyway, let's move swiftly on from that. What other big news? Is there any other big news breaking out?
Bridgerweight. There's a Bridgerweight world title fight, WBC. So of course, this is a new weight between cruiser and heavy that only the WBC have at the moment. So more belt, no doubt, more belts will join this if it takes off. We've got Rivas versus Jennings, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can't remember the date for that. When's the date for that? Do you know?
I don't know the date. Let me have a quick look, see if I can find it. I don't think the date's been confirmed. I think they've just confirmed the actual fight itself.
Right. Could be an interesting step for a Coley, actually. There's a danger there because if you he might unify the cruiserweight and then go into the bridgerweight and fight for that title and get creamed, and then it doesn't look good going into heavyweight where all the money is. So you have to be pretty sure you're going to win that bridgerweight belt, because if you don't, you've lost your momentum. Your momentum and your money going in. If you get beat off Jennings for that belt, say, you're not going to go. People aren't going to be like really buzzing for you just joining the heavyweights, I suppose. So that could get you up. So be interesting. I mean, who do you see winning that?
I think Oscar Rivas would win that. I think Bryant Jennings is maybe 2 or 3 years past his best. And I think Oscar Rivas, I've only seen Oscar Rivas fight a couple of times, obviously most notably against Dillian White, and he gave Dillian White a tough fight. So I'd expect Rivas to win that pretty comfortably, actually.
Yeah, I think Jennings isn't great under fire. When someone's firing at him, he's not great, and Rivas will definitely fire at him. And just let's play with this a bit. Let's say Rivas does win it and maybe defends it or something, because it's a good opportunity for some smaller heavyweights, I suppose, isn't it? One good way of them getting another belt and being a bit more commercial success. Wilders or the big boys doing it. How would you see a Coley against someone like Rivas? Say not next fight, but next year perhaps. He's had a couple more fights, Coley, but
I don't know. I've watched the Coley fight. I watched the Coley fight again. I know that you're really sold on Lawrence Coley, and
well, hang on a minute before you say that. I am a cruiser.
Yeah.
I'm not one of these that says he's going to go and dominate. I've got no idea. But against Rivas, he's still going to have that reach.
Yeah. I'd probably see a Coley beating him, actually. I mean, it depends how he looks against Jennings. If he knocks him out and looks destructive, then maybe it's one they'll probably look to avoid and maybe just go straight to heavyweight. Because I think it's going to take a while for Bridgerweight to really kind of, settle in. I think the money division is always going to be the heavyweight division. And I think if there's an opportunity at heavyweight, then I think maybe I'll just skip it.
Possibly, though it is a way of saying 3 world champion. And if you can win it, it's even bigger momentum going into the heavyweight division, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can go, I unified the cruiser. I then went and won the Bridgerweight world title. It may just be one fight, but I went and won it. And now I'm going into heavy. But it's a risk, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a risk.
Talking of risks, whilst we're on the subject of Okoli, there is talk of Okoli fighting Bradis. Apparently they're going to start talking about that for maybe later in the year. I presume
you might go for Bradis.
I don't know actually. But Bradis apparently is going to go up to heavyweight as well. They're talking about him going up to heavyweight, but I think he'd be undersized. I think he's only about 6'1", 6'2". So I'm not sure if Bradis would quite cut it at heavyweight, but he's a monster at cruiserweight, and that would be
might go
huge risk.
Might go Bridger.
Maybe.
He might go Bridger.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's big, but he won't have reach over Okoli. I thought he was similar to Glowacki.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. All right. What else is there?
Well, we mentioned it in one of the other videos, but obviously Gorman won last night. I've not seen that fight. I will look at it. It was a KO, I think, middle round. It was a KO. And Adelaide, I always say his name wrong. Adelaide, is that right?
David Adelaide. Yeah. David Adelaide.
Yeah. That was an awful opponent he had. I mean,
it's interesting, isn't it? How Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn, they have very quite different development sort of methods. I think Eddie Hearn likes the big show and likes to put them in with a name and all that. It's almost like he fast tracks them. It's almost like entertainment first, and then maybe development of the boxer second. I'm not saying obviously it's worked out well for Hearn and Matchroom, but I think Frank Warren, it's almost like we need to develop the fight. We need to put get as many names on there, similar to what he did with Anthony Yard. I mean, Anthony Yard couldn't have. I hardly knew any of the opponents that he was putting against, and I think that's what it's going to be like for the rest of this year with Adelaide, to be honest.
Yeah, but the problem is the difference is what Hearn does. He'll go, say like Ted is world title. He'll go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Whereas Warren goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 10. Do you know what I mean? In terms of quality, he moves them up little bits and then goes go to that. Where Hearn takes risks as they're going up, but when they go for a world title, it's less of a gap.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not saying that one's better than the other. I'm just saying that I think there's definitely, it seems to be two different methods. But yeah, it's on that card, because obviously that was the Willie Hutchinson, Lennox Clark fight, and Willie Hutchinson lost. So I mean, penny for the thoughts of Frank Warren. That's another Warren, prospect. We could still call him a prospect, but Frank Warren was really high on him. Making drawing parallels to the great Joe Calzaghe, which was maybe a bit early for that kind of praise. But got knocked out badly as well. I mean, it didn't look. I mean, I've only seen the knockout. I've not seen the whole fight. But yeah, a bad knockout. And it's interesting because like Willie Hutchinson had been campaigning at light heavyweight, and for some reason they made a decision to step down to super middleweight. And I don't know if that's maybe a contributing factor to why him getting stopped badly. Maybe he didn't make the weight very well. I mean, it's a big fight as well. Lennox Clark was, he's no slouch. But it's backfired horribly, and a rebuilding job for Willie Hutchinson.
Going back to Adelaide, you're going to wonder what he learned from a fight like that. There's development and there's kind of what's that. I mean, you could see it in his interview, actually. He's quite frustrated, almost like, I can't really show how good I am against these lot, and he's been sparring, a lot of quality fighters and holding his own. So, I think he's probably frustrated. He's just got to, I think some of it is Warren as well. He's cheap. He's kind of like, he doesn't want to pay for like that middle level name. So he'll pay for like, I don't think it's just a development thing. I think it's cheapness as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, whether Adelaide and Gorman get it on, probably not quite yet, but they might be on a crash course.
Okay, yeah, that'd be good.
Billy Joe Saunders, Canelo tickets. I think these were pre-set. What's it called? Not pre-sale, or is it pre-sale?
Yeah,
Before they got
pre-sale.
public, 40,000 already.
Wow.
Done. So I imagine they are going to sell the 70,000 because there's rumours of, will Canelo even, will they do 70 without Brits being able to go over? But I don't think Billy Joe would have taken like Hatton numbers, even in normal times.
No. Billy Joe Saunders, I think, has it's almost kind of a cult following in the boxing community. He's very big with the hardcore boxing fans, but he hasn't kind of crossed over like a Ricky Hatton or an Amir Khan. But he's a very, very good fighter. But yeah, I don't think they'd have taken many Brits over. Maybe 3,000 or 4,000, something like that. Maybe not even that many.
Yeah, Matt. Yeah, but yeah, 40,000. That sounds like that's going to get to the 70. I'm actually just looking forward to see. We know what it's like in the UK to get that number in the stadium, but you don't see it in America really, and that'd be a big thing for Hearn. To say he's done that, and they'll go all out on terms of the
production.
Production and stuff, especially now they know they're going to get real solid income, and hopefully the card's decent. And now they're going to have a full stadium. We've got just, you're saying Sanchez is on it, isn't he?
Yeah, Frank Sanchez, who's with Eddie Reynoso. So he's apparently on the undercard. Apparently there is a big Brit that is going to be fighting on the undercard as well. I mean,
massive chance for someone. I think did that get announced? Yeah, I saw an interview with Hearn saying it was going to be announced on Friday night, but I've still not heard who it is. But all I know it's a Brit who's going to be getting a huge opportunity.
I wonder if it is. So who do you think? What
do you think that against?
I don't know. I'm thinking, is it maybe John Ryder?
Well, what's a huge opportunity?
Well, title. It's got to be a title fight, isn't it? Yeah, I've not heard. But I think we always know we're going to get a stacked out card in there. But yeah, you're right. I think in Matchroom and Eddie Hearn, it's going to be a big kind of flag in the sand to all the American fighters that are maybe a little bit disgruntled with, their promotional contracts. Teofimo Lopez, Terence Crawford, Lomachenko. It's almost like Hearn saying, "Look, this is what I can do for you." Showcasing what he can do with Canelo. So it's really kind of DAZN and Matchroom putting their name out in the shop window. But yeah, it'd be amazing if he could do that. Hasn't he fought at the Dallas Cowboys Stadium anyway, though, I think, hasn't he?
Who?
Canelo. He fought at the Dallas Cowboys Stadium, I think, for Liam Smith, for Beefy.
Yeah, I'm not sure it was full, though.
No, I don't think it was.
And I know, didn't Spence fight there? There's been a few, I think Spence fought there recently, didn't he? And they did 45?
Yeah, maybe. For Danny Garcia, yeah.
So again, it'll be look, we can do 70 in a pandemic. So
yeah.
Sorry, nipping back to Queensberry. I just saw again an interview with indicated Yard could be out next month. Is in April, which means it's not going to be a big fight.
Yeah, not at this. Is Callum Johnson going to be on there as well? Probably, right?
Yeah, on the card. I don't know what date or.
I think they'll be looking to make Anthony Yard versus Callum Johnson towards the end of the year. So maybe that'll be a bit of a tune-up for both of them.
Yeah. My final bit of news is just, Ruiz and Ariola's now confirmed. Can't remember the date though. Is it back end of May? Right?
Yeah, I think that sounds about right. The big one. Maybe not one to put in the calendar.
The Mexicans, I imagine, but free, I probably will get up for it. I think it's one of those I'd get up for. Just curious to see what shape Ruiz is. Think so, yeah. I think so. I don't know. See how I feel.
I think I'll be waiting for that to be reported in the news in the newspapers the next day.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, the weigh-in's going to be more interesting than the fight, actually, just to see what Nicky's in.
What, to see if these pictures are real?
Some of them are, some of them aren't. I mean, I do believe he'll lost weight, and I do think he'll look better, but I don't believe he's going to be like bloody Joshua, you know. But he doesn't have to be.
No.
He has to be lighter, you know. You don't change your body against what you should naturally be. You just shouldn't be a fat bastard. Yeah, simple. Interestingly, the price is $49.99, so that's a bit cheaper than normal. So whether that's a kind of acknowledgement of, hey, this isn't the best shit we've dished up before, so you can have it a bit cheaper. Let's see.
Still, it's a bit of a liberty, though, isn't it? I think Ruiz Arreola on pay-per-view.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny actually because I was watching a video with, you know, I like watching some of my American friends over the pond, and
what are they saying?
Boxing Voice. They were kicking off because I think they were talking about this fight, and someone said, "How is this pay-per-view?" And he had his icon was a British flag, and one of the, what's his name now, the guy who runs it, went absolutely mental. And he just went, you lot are paying for Parker Chisora, which is a fair point to some degree. But then he said, and you lot paid for Parker Usyk and Chisora. But I don't think that's comparable. Usyk and Chisora and Ruiz and Arreola. I don't think that's comparable.
No, they're not comparable.
You could argue the A side. Ruiz is probably a bigger name than Usyk, but then Chisora is bigger than Arreola, and that fight was actually competitive, where this one does not seem competitive.
Yeah,
so, not great. But yeah, there's a lot of hate from the Americans at the moment on the Brits, and actually, because, they're so into PBC as well, the Boxing Boys.
Are they?
You know what I mean? And yeah, anytime they put a card on, it's they're proper like Wilder and PBC fanboys. You know what I mean? That they're definitely on that side of the fence. A lot of the Boxing Boys.
Drinking the
yeah, and just if they put a card on, it's a lot better. And if you know anyone else puts a card on, they don't like DAZN because Hearn's British. A lot of it's that.
I've just never really understood that. I've never understood this kind of loyalty to a promoter or a network. I just like anybody that puts on good fights, I'm into. And sometimes that's Eddie Hearn, sometimes that's Frank Warren, sometimes it's Bob Arum, sometimes it's Al Heyman. I do think Eddie Hearn is probably the more consistent in terms of putting on, you know, good shows and competitive fights. But I'm not, you know, I've been critical of him in the past. I'm not loyal. We're not, yeah.
I say I have a bit of loyalty when it comes to Hearn in America, just because I like to see well in boxing, you know, and so therefore I kind of like to see a British company do well in America. So I've probably got a little bit of bias to me, and I think that's why I like watching the Boxing Boys, because I can see them getting more and more wound up. That's me for news. We'll avoid any Joshua Fury talk because there isn't anything to talk about. But hopefully there is soon.
Yeah, fingers crossed. It's got to be. Yeah, well, they've got a time limit. I think we got 3 weeks left now to find a location. But yeah, let's not talk about it until we've got something to report. All right.
Okay.
Let's wrap it up. Good to catch up. Thanks to everybody for listening. Please like and subscribe.